Hey, friends, and welcome back to the Three Hamster Boys podcast. I'm Alexander, joined by my brother Nick and our father Jeff.
Jeff the dad.
He says this every time.
Yeah. Well, just in case anyone tunes in for the first time and they're like, man, those people look sort of related.
I could be convinced that they know each other.
Convinced.
I will say there have been other podcasts that I've seen where I'm like, that's the same person. Like, those are just different camera angles, and that's the same person doing a podcast by himself.
That's fair.
Plus, I'm a lot older than you guys.
Yeah. So I like to do some introductions just in case we have new people tuning in, or just in case this is your second episode. And
or you forget.
Yeah, who are those people again? So today's episode, we're talking about fun, interesting, and unique weapons from fiction. We could break this down into many subsections.
We started off with just like, what favorite, coolest weapons that we like, iconic weapons that we like, and we're like, it's got to be fictional.
Yeah.
Because there's some real stuff that's also really cool. But also, we could do swords, and we still might do just swords.
This is a very wide topic. We try not to keep it this wide and try to better define it. But as we were going through this, we're like, this is a huge category.
Yeah.
So this is our first... There might be other editions of it, but this is our first edition of just fictional weapons.
And I tried to keep mine non-traditional.
I was about to say, your choices are a bit unique, I think.
Because I didn't want us impeding on something that where we were going to look at specific types of weapons.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I had no such consideration in that regard. I just picked things that I thought were interesting. But Nick, what are we drinking today?
Yeah, so we are returning to our friends over at Werks.
Yay.
We had... I believe it was 2 episodes ago, maybe 3? 2 episodes? 2 episodes. 2 episodes ago.
Okay.
All right.
He believes you.
2 or 3 episodes ago. We had our first round of Aleworks. They were very good. I think we had a really enjoyable time.
Yep.
And we had more of their like iconic ones.
Yep.
They had we tried more traditional ones. And now we're breaking out a little bit and getting more of the unique, hopefully, tasting ones.
What I will say is this was not the first time that we had Aleworks 2. We had their strawberry shortcake milk stout like several episodes ago.
So it's like we had Aleworks in like a different category of what we're drinking, and then we had an Aleworks episode that we were drinking from, and now we are returning once again to finish off basically what we had picked up from Aleworks.
And it's not that we don't have multiple choices. We're kind of talking about where we want to go to next to get drinks from, and the options around us are just so numerous.
Yeah, we have a lot of options. So we're taking our time. We're enjoying what we have in front of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
But to begin with, we are starting with a lovely shandy. I believe this is the. Let me double check.
Oh.
Lemon and ginger. Yes. Okay. Lemon and ginger. Should be like extremely floral and yummy and citrusy and prickle the tongue a little bit maybe.
Very, very shandy-like.
Very shandy-like. Because it's almost summer.
Yeah, I guess that's not right, but we can pretend for a little bit here.
I mean, these episodes are getting spaced out from our normal recording because it has been snowing so much in Virginia.
Yeah.
It seems like we're in the polar ice cap because it's been so bad.
It's true. Time is feeling a little odd right now.
Yeah. Because we live in Virginia. We don't get snow, but we had probably 10 days of just ice.
Oh, I like that, actually. I like that a lot.
The ice?
No, the shandy.
The shandy.
I like the snow, but when we got that like glacial freeze over, that was not great.
Yeah. I mean, I love shandies anyway. I think it's really hard to go wrong with a shandy, and this is just it's a little more it's like prickly.
Yeah, it is.
It's like a prickly pear.
I think that the lemon taste is kind of subdued because of the ginger a little bit. So you still get that sense of the sourness of the lemon, but it's kind of subdued because the ginger comes through.
Yeah.
Of course, our mother would never be able to drink this for many reasons. But,
Our mother.
yeah, your mother, my wife. But she's mom to everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very good, very refreshing. It's just a nice drink.
It almost has like a weedy finish at the end here.
Yeah.
That I kind of like.
I'm a big fan of it, to be honest.
Yeah.
This is extremely tasty.
Yeah, this is really good. I like this a lot.
You can't go wrong, I guess.
Can't go wrong with a shandy.
And they made it even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even with all of the drinks we've had from Aleworks, I'm a big fan of this brewery. I think they just do solid work. So.
And they do such a variety that you'll probably find something you like.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and for us, we like something that's unique and different, and not an IPA.
And Aleworks is a gift that keeps on giving.
That is typically one of the hangups. And also, despite our diverse tastes and, you like dark or you like reds or whites or whatever, at the end of the day, I think we all just dislike IPAs.
Yeah. We'll probably never have an IPA episode unless a guest is like IPAs.
IPAs, yeah.
And we'll probably find
The most unique IPA.
the most unique IPAs that the guest will probably do not like,
Yeah.
or join us in the suffering.
Yeah. What is this? Boysenberry IPA?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that does go back. We are looking at more guests or guests in general and how to add them to the show. So that, I think, is something I'm really excited for.
Yeah, I am too. Because it doesn't have to. I love the idea of asking them questions that are unique
Right.
and different.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're going to be the hot ones of alcohol.
That's right. Exactly.
Sure.
All right. Let's kick things off. Dad, do you
Okay.
want to start with your first weapon here? And we'll go
Yeah.
from
So
there?
I'm going to go. They're all three unique, but I'm going to go with the one that's kind of the least obvious weapon. My first weapon is a pencil. And people go, "What? A pencil?"
So you starting with the most obvious? Is that what you just said?
He said least obvious.
Okay.
Well, least thing that's a weapon.
Yeah.
Because my other two are more like weapons, kind of.
Sure.
Kind of.
Kind of. So a pencil, because as soon as we said this, two things came to my head. One is the Dark Knight when the Joker does the disappearing act.
Sure, the
gosh,
magic trick.
Yeah.
And then the other one is in John Wick, they say John Wick killed 4 people or 5 people with a pencil. And so I said, okay, a pencil is going to be the one.
You love a pencil.
And then the other one is on the fringe of that is in like the Bourne Identity. He kills that one guy with a pen.
Yeah. Well, wait. He like pushes out and like gets him in the neck, right?
Well, then he also pushes it into his hand, so it's sticking out of his finger.
Oh, that's right.
Gross. I forgot about that.
So, anyways, yeah. So I was like, yeah, I got to go with that one.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't have much commentary to add to this, honestly.
It was never going to be ever in 1,000 years my choice.
Yeah, I agree.
But it typifies the movies that I like to watch.
Yes.
No, because I feel like it would have been like my favorite weapon is a 1911 9mm pistol,
Blah.
But yeah, that's like what every action hero, ends up with.
Well, and that's kind of my question is, when we kind of threw this prompt out here, what was like the first instinct in your mind to jump to the pencil? Because I think I jumped to anime and being like, there are a bunch of weird weapons in anime.
So, most of the movies that I watch are action adventure movies, right?
Yeah.
And so, really, action adventure kind of falls into 2 categories of weapons. One is traditional. Okay, he's got a 50 caliber, or he's got a 45, or a Magnum, or whatever it is.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, those are, or a shotgun, or whatever it is, right? So you have those, and then you have the other one, which is weapons of opportunity. Whatever is available.
Right. You're a
door.
tavern brawler.
Yeah. You're Jackie Chan.
I've picked up a window pane, or I've picked up, a pan, or whatever it is.
Ah, yes, my favorite weapon, a wooden bench.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
So, it's one of those things where, in my mind, I immediately said, well, I don't want a traditional weapon that's realistic. I want something that is opportunistic and whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And in this, situation in these scenarios, the pencil is a very opportunistic weapon.
It's a very
unassuming.
pedestrian.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it was very pedestrian. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Great. Well then, Nick, why don't you bring us into weapon number 2 here?
Yeah, I like you. Like my brother. I went with I was like anime or video games.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that video games are the ones that you are the ones that are actively participating in use of this weapon. And anime is just the absurdity or uniqueness.
Sure.
So my first weapon is I'm just going for one of the most iconic weapons in gaming that I could think of. So I am going to be choosing the Hidden Blade from the Assassin's Creed series.
Yeah.
It is
You're aware of this,
Yes,
right?
I'm aware of it.
Okay.
I've watched you play this.
Yeah.
I think it's so simple and yet almost impossible to recreate in real life as it works.
Yeah.
It only extends truly when you want it to. But while you're playing it, it always comes out at the right time to assassinate from the game. But basically, the weapon is it's like a wrist guard, but on the inside is an ejectable blade that sort of comes out, sort of like a Wolverine claw.
Yeah.
And usually is used for subtlety and assassination, and to be a very a hidden blade. Yeah, that's sort of the idea of it. And it's been very, very consistent throughout all the games that it's on the inside. However, there's one exception, and I'm playing through it right now with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. The main character, Eivor, is a Viking, not an assassin who values stealth and subtlety like most of the other characters. So they actually have the hidden blade on the outside. So they sort of punch people into the dagger instead of the sort of like push and underneath. Eivor sort of jumps and like punches people with the dagger, almost like Wolverine.
Wow.
Do you still assassinate people in Valhalla?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it follows, it's a more RPG thing that
Right,
they've done
yeah.
with the new 3 games. So it's like health bars, levels, and assassinating and stealth kills aren't instas anymore.
Right.
But yeah, I just think the Hidden Blade is just so iconic. And the Assassin's Creed series, while the writing has certainly fallen off on like many, many things, it's still one of the most iconic game series with so many games out there. And so many iconic characters that are extremely beloved.
Yeah.
With Altair, I think, is a silent sort of protagonist that people really liked, but Ezio Auditore is like the guy to really like. And then followed up quickly by Connor and Edward Kenway in 3 and 4.
I was thinking that's probably something we could talk about, is these kind of the waning and reestablishment of these kind of game,
like really long series.
Yeah,
Oh
because
my
if we look at God of War,
Yeah.
that's really transformed where it started from.
It's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
We could look at the 5 games of God of War. We can look at 6 Black Opses, not even including other Call of Duties.
Gosh, yeah.
We could talk about 16 Final Fantasies.
We talk about Uncharted because we kind of grew up watching Alexander play those.
5 Uncharted's, 1
Yeah.
main series, and then Chloe's.
Yeah. Chloe's spinoff.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of a curious thing, because I know that there was a point when you guys weren't playing Assassin's Creed because you just were like, it's tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a point where I was trying to play through all of them, and I just it's like, okay, I get it now.
The main issue with Assassin's Creed games is the scale is so impressive. However, the game is usually dumbed down by a really redundant collectathon
Right.
that is extremely unsatisfying. I remember you were playing either 2 or Brotherhood, and you were collecting feathers or banners or something.
Yeah, they were like banners.
And at like one point you started using a guide.
Yep.
And then you got to the end and were like, I'm still missing one.
Yo.
And I don't know which one.
Yeah,
Okay,
and they weren't on the map. Like, you had to just...
But so now you say that, but then you remember you were getting the hooks in Arkham
Yeah, but here's the difference, right? For the Riddler clues, those were all marked on the map.
Oh.
Like as long as you found it, it would like mark itself on the map for you, so you knew where it was.
But Assassin's Creed, at least the early ones,
yeah,
you either know where it is or you don't.
Oh.
and so it was good when I started using the guide until I went, okay, well now I need to go back and look through these 100 locations to see if I can find.
And the difference
flag I'm
between that and the farming, where you have to do repetitive farming, how does that impact it? I mean,
So when it comes to like farming, you're usually like in terms of gaming, if you're farming, quote unquote, you're usually doing it to get some sort of goal or like end.
Right.
You know, like you're either like I'm farming to get gear or
Right.
equipment or weapons or do a fight.
so that's the big difference.
yeah.
What I will say for our audience members that are not necessarily as familiar with these
And,
terms,
and I don't play these games in general. I just don't have the time. But
most of the time when you talk about farming in video games, you're not talking about planting seeds
No,
and
yeah.
plowing and watering those seeds. Oftentimes it's a repetitive action, whether or not you're like fighting the same boss over and over again, or you're fighting the same like 3 goblins to try to oftentimes to get like Nick said, equipment or more levels. It basically refers to like a repetitive action over and over again. Another word for it is like grinding.
yeah.
But yeah, those with farming, like, you know, you're expecting a bounty or, you know, eventually reaping the rewards. But
Yeah.
for games that who do mass map collectathons, where you're just collecting arbitrary things that fill up a number to, you know, give you a little bing in the corner for an achievement,
Yeah.
it's a lot less satisfying than an
Yeah.
in-game sort of payoff.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I mean,
And what I could say is you don't necessarily need to do these, but like
well, it's like the person that always tried to complete the games.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm going to do this. Why? No reason.
Yeah.
A little bit of dopamine.
There's
just for
a
second.
different breed of people who are like, I'm going to 100% as many games as
It's,
possible.
To me, they're the same ones that say, okay, I'm going to get through this game in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
speedrunners.
Yes, yeah.
Completionists and speedrunners have like a very similar mentality.
Yeah.
Two sides of the same coin.
Yeah. They're both in the sense of like, I have mastered this game.
I was about to say, they might even be the same person.
That's true. Yeah.
Because a lot of times speedrunners do the games because they love them so much.
Yeah.
Same reason. Well, not necessarily. Sometimes completionists just want the number to be
The
filled,
cred.
even if they don't love the game.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways, we got off on the
That's
tangent.
a little bit of a tangent, but that's
Tin
okay.
Blade for me. And then,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
about you?
Yeah. So I actually have a list of a bunch of like weapons that I thought were interesting, and I'm just gonna kind of go off of whatever I feel like in the moment. So I think first off, the first weapon that I'm choosing is going to be from an internet series. I know I mentioned anime. It's not going to be anime to start us off. It's a 2013 internet series that eventually concluded, I think, in like 2024, from Rooster Teeth.
Okay, I do not know this one.
Yeah. The series is called Ruby, or RWBY.
Red, white, black, yellow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the quote unquote main character, or the main character that we meet, her name is Ruby Rose, and she
But Ruby spelled correctly.
yeah,
in
but
that
Ruby
regard.
spelled correctly. Yeah. And she carries a weapon called the Crimson Rose, and it is essentially a sniper rifle and a scythe put into one weapon.
Wow. So she can do close contact or far away.
Yes. And so Nick and I were actually watching the Red trailer before we sat down for this.
Yeah.
But essentially, the weapon can like fold out into a sniper rifle, or if she wants, it'll fold out completely into a scythe.
Wow.
And it's operational as a scythe and a sniper rifle at the same time. So she can do a lot of like very fun and like flashy combos. And at the time, 2013, right? Think about this. It's very early on in the internet, very early on in these like internet animations.
Yeah.
a lot of times out of specifically Rooster Teeth, we were seeing things like the Halo Blue versus Red series where there wasn't as much animation. It was just literally them going into Halo and using like
Pictures.
Not necessarily pictures, but
Just like a general cam, just recording them shaking their cameras up and down.
Exactly, yeah. So really, we're looking at that, and then we see this series Ruby where there are like full fight scenes. You're seeing these like crazy sort of movements and animations, and yes, looking back, it's super rough compared to what we have
really
today.
rough to watch, not gonna lie.
But you said the music was.
Oh my
we
gosh.
love the music.
Yeah, the music is so good.
Yeah.
Jeff Williams, probably the main person working on them. So iconic. I mean, even just watching the trailer, we're both singing along to the trailer music.
It's a bop.
Because Red Like Roses goes so awesome. And even now, we listen to some of Jeff Williams' other stuff, like Caffeine is stuck in my head at least once a month.
That's true.
But yeah, the fun thing about this weapon is not only does it fold out, which is kind of something that I think is really cool, it also has the ability where in like some fights, she'll like have the scythe around an enemy and then shoot the gun to use the sort of propulsion of the weapon.
Kickback?
Yeah, the kickback
To
of the
pull the
weapon
scythe through the
them?
enemy toward her.
It is kind of sick, honestly.
It's a very cool idea.
Really cool idea. And even going further than that, when we were in Germany, we saw like what was it, like a hammer? It was like a hammer and like a gun put into one.
Whoa! We're going into nonfiction weapons now.
Well, like that sort of idea, I think, has always been so cool of like mixing that close range and the far. Almost to an unnecessary degree, I think, is what makes it so interesting.
So talking about real weapons in war, you always had the bayonet on the rifle.
It's true.
But that's not flashy.
No,
Exactly.
it's not flashy.
It's
but
too practical.
It is practical.
But like that sort of concept, Ruby, and also seeing that gun in real life made me want that for my D&D character.
Exactly.
So when I was playing a paladin, I was like, DM, I want this. And he's like,
This guy.
okay, sure. Now, granted, part of that was he's like, okay, you're super under leveled compared to the other party, but part of that was because they all became gods and I just was a stupid mortal.
But sure, you can have a gun hammer.
Yeah, but you could have a gun hammer, whatever. But yeah, I think, and in the show, she also uses it for a little bit of mobility as well, where like firing the gun kind of propels her forward a little bit, or propels the scythe to like give heavier strikes. Just a cool weapon in general, and at the time, like super unique.
For some reason in my head, I'm thinking this tiny little girl. You know,
Yeah, basically.
You got it.
Oh,
Yeah. She's her character model is like based off of Red Riding Hood.
So she wears like a red cape.
So yeah, it is exactly what
and
you're
I'm thinking that art style at that time, you know, like fairy godmother, and
They were probably trying to capture that vibe
Yeah.
because in the trailer for it, she's fighting wolves.
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. But yeah, if you're thinking like old style of animation, so it's like 3D models with like the lowest polygon count possible.
Yeah, it's tough.
But
tough.
I remember watching that in like the 2013, 2014 and being like, this is so cool.
This is cool.
And then never getting into the show.
No, because I'm going to be honest, they should not have added a story. I know a lot of people like it, but it's hard to watch.
But I mean, I love the old art. So I saw a couple weeks ago, I was watching something, and it was the cartoon Heavy Metal, which you guys don't know about, but I saw it in 1982, and it had all these heavy metal bands playing in it.
All I know about is the game, and I don't know if that's related.
Are you talking about Twisted Metal?
Oh, you're right. Never mind. I don't know anything about heavy
So-
metal.
so heavy-
Yeah.
So Heavy Metal had Devo, Black Sabbath, a bunch of these really heavy metals in the early 80s, and a couple of punk bands. And they did art style to kind of, and it was basically following this evil essence around, and then whenever they dropped somewhere, it was just, everyone was a different cartoon style.
Oh, okay.
And everyone had a different band playing a song.
That's cool.
So it is pretty cool, but it was really impacted me because I was in high school at this time.
Yeah.
And it just was such a cool thing. So when you guys talk about comics or cartoons or whatever, that's what I always think about as unique art styles that just you can't find anywhere else.
Sure.
Obligatory Denzel Curry
I'm about to
reference
say
here.
the Unlocked.
Unlocked.
We talked
with
about
all
it on our
those-
album episode.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I think that's so cool, and I think art is awesome. I mean, the reason why we do this podcast is we talk about art all the time, but especially when it comes to animation, when we're talking about like Star Wars Visions, when we're talking about albums like Unlocked or like shows like Heavy Metal, I love to see the progression and the changes of art, animation, and the art styles that come out.
I also like you talk about music. I love music and animation.
Yeah.
And acting and voices just all coming together. I love that combination of art style.
I mean, Nick and I grew up on AMVs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like in that big period of AMVs. I know some people are still making them. And for those who don't know, AMVs are like animated music videos. Basically, specifically with anime, they'll take songs. Probably your favorite Linkin Park song has a million of these on YouTube.
It's true.
But yeah, someone with editing skills will go in there, will sync up a Linkin Park or whatever.
to a cool anime fight or anime.
Yeah.
It'll be really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yep.
All right. Well, our glasses are empty. I think it's time to try something else. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back, y'all. See you soon.
Yep.
And we are back. Howdy, y'all. What's up? We've got more alcohol in front of us here. Nick, what are we drinking now?
Yeah, so we are going for hopefully a lighter to darker in terms of the beers we're drinking. So we started with a very light shandy, which was very tasty, and we're going a little bit darker into a lager. This is their limited release Grapefruit Weekend Lager. This should still be fairly light, but I'm going to expect a much richer and fuller taste than the shandy.
More grapefruit.
More grapefruit.
Plus, my grapefruit's my favorite. So
You had to get it in there. I love grapefruit. Grapefruit's my favorite. What are we thinking? I feel like not as strong reactions from the shandy.
I don't think it's that different of a profile.
Yeah, it's still a very light and fruity experience, but I think it's a little underwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they muted the grapefruit taste a little bit too much. I would have liked more grapefruit taste.
Well, here's what I'll say. It smells very strongly, and with that a little bit of that grapefruit essence. And then tasting it, you're right. It does not come out as much.
But here's what's funny about it: the shandy, you could taste the beer at the end.
Yeah.
This one, I taste the beer, and then I just get this hint of grapefruit at the end of it.
Yeah, you're like, it's a lager. Oh, fruit, and it's gone.
Yeah, it's like on the very edges of my tongue when I taste it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good way of putting it.
But I mean, I'm a big grapefruit guy, so I would have liked a little bit more grapefruit forward on it.
Yeah, I will say this and the shandy both I would classify as those like easy drinking beers where they're both pretty light. You can just kind of knock them back. These are definitely, I would say a little more summery in terms
That's
of.
what I was thinking that these are summery ones, but we bought them.
Yeah,
Definitely in fall, winter.
fall,
time.
winter.
Yeah, winter
time,
area.
Yeah, so I would not have. This would not be what I would consider a typical winter. Of course, in my mind, Glühwein's a typical winter drink.
Sure,
know?
but like, either. But I think more rich and deeper and.
Like I think like a darker,
Yeah.
stouts or,
Yes,
honestly,
stouts, maybe darker ales.
Dunkel.
yeah.
Yeah, something a little bit
dark ale
more
works.
more heavier or richer. Usually is more wintry or fall.
Yeah. Well, either way, these are delicious. This one is good too. I think with the expectation of more grapefruit, little bit of a disappointment in terms of the taste there, especially because I smelled it before I tasted it, and I was like, "Whoa, okay." And then you try it, and you're like, "Wait a second, where'd that taste go?"
This is a lager.
Yeah, it's a nice lager.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Nick, kicking it over to you. What is your second weapon here?
So my second weapon comes from a game series, another video game series with a very good reputation, and has a long lifetime, similar to Assassin's Creed, but I think a little bit more.
Not as many games.
Not as many games. Not as many games. I think there's 5 in the main series.
I think you're right.
Maybe 6 if we're counting
Tiny Tina's Assault.
Yeah, Wonderland.
Yeah, Wonderland.
I'm talking about the Borderlands series. Please never put it next to the movie, because I heard that was the worst movie that has ever been released.
Time to watch that.
But Borderlands is, for a little bit of context, it is a first-person RPG shooter. So you run through a variety of levels and worlds and areas, collecting a mass variety of very unique and fantastical guns that all have interesting or odd properties, and the rarer and more unique guns have signature, aspects to them. Like there is a thing called the Gunnerang, where when you finish it, you throw it and it just starts spinning around and shooting, and it comes back to you. And there's something called the Infinity Pistol, which never reloads, and you just keep shooting, and just a huge variety of weird and fun weapons. But I'm choosing it's a very if you're familiar with the world of cyberpunk, where the future is dominated by these hyper mass conglomerates, where
The Fifth Element.
Yeah. Where it's basically companies control territories of the galaxy.
Yeah.
And all of them have like signature names, and therefore they all are weapon manufacturers as well. So if you're like, I like Western guns and pistols, and I will click and it'll shoot the bullet, you get a Jacobs. And if you're like, I really like, super futuristic weapons, you go Hyperion. Yep. However, the one that I will be talking about is the Tediore weapons as a whole. It doesn't matter which Tediore weapon, because they all share one property. When you want to reload it, you just throw it away and a brand new one materializes in your hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you have a shotgun, you're like, bang, bang, bang. You are like, I'm out of bullets. Throw it, it explodes on another guy, new one phases into your hands, and you're ready to go.
Okay, so I've never played these games.
Yeah.
So I know very little about it, but I have never heard of these weapons.
Yeah.
I've heard of some, like the Gunnerang. I think I've heard of before.
Probably.
But that
It's a good one.
That I've never heard of.
It's a very humorous thing, and it switches up on how you think. I like Borderlands because it really changes on how you play the game depending on which company gun you pick up. Because Jacobs, their signature is no gun is fully automatic that they make. Every time you click, it shoots a bullet, so it only shoots as fast as you click. And then there's other guns where the more you shoot, the faster it shoots.
Yep.
So I think that's Hyperion signature. So if you hold down left click with a Hyperion weapon, it starts out slow, but the more you hold to fire, the faster it shoots.
Wow. I will say the game also uses a fun kind of rock, paper, scissors mechanic in terms of like the effects that guns do as well. So like certain shields can only be or like are damaged more by certain types of guns. Certain like armor is more affected by certain types of guns, or if it's just like a flesh monster, like a I don't know, like a wild creature out there, it's affected by different types of guns more as well.
Yeah, so the game is basically you have a loadout of weapons that you get to optimize, and you also choose which character you start with, and they all have abilities and stuff.
Yep.
And yeah, it's basically a traditional fantasy but put into the far future.
So are characters locked into certain types of weapons, or does it add creativity to how you play, because you can do characters with different types of weapons and stuff like that. Or
It is yes, and yes.
Yes.
So any character can use any weapon.
Yep.
However, there are characters that prefer other weapons to others.
Okay.
So, in Borderlands the pre-sequel, there's a character named Nisha. She's all about pistols, no matter from what. If you have a pistol, she gains a whole bunch of benefits.
doesn't matter the maker.
Doesn't matter to the maker. However, there is, I think maybe either the Jack clone, the Jack doppelganger, or the handsome Jack sister. They are partial to either Hyperion weapons or Jacob's weapons.
I haven't played a lot of the pre-sequel. I was thinking Borderlands 3, I think Zero is the character. He likes sniper rifles.
Borderlands 2.
Borderlands 2.
Here's 0.
You got me.
Borderlands 3 has Zane.
Oh, okay.
And Moe's. But yeah, the excitement of Borderlands is all these guns are put through like a random augment before they spawn. So you never no gun is ever the same. Is the
it's got like different stats.
So like when you play through the campaign, you're never going to get the same amount of guns or types of guns or whatever. Bosses have certain drops, but for the most part, you should always have a different armory whenever you play the game.
Does that? I mean, there are some games that I watch you guys play where there are characters that do well with certain weapons. Does it add to the skill set required to play the game? Does it add anything by having kind of a randomness to the guns?
No, it just is exciting.
I think it adds a replayability to the game.
That's what I was thinking also.
Because I think most of the Borderlands games are not particularly long, especially when you compare them to some of the other games nowadays. Especially because those earlier Borderlands games were in a period of time where like New Game Plus was really like the fun thing that you could do, which is like if you beat the game, you can play it again.
But you keep your level and all your equipment.
Yeah. Wow. So like Arkham City has a New Game Plus. And I mean, heck, Arkham City is not necessarily a short game at the end of the day either.
No, but that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if you need a new gun in very classic, high sci-fi fantasy, there's always a vending machine around that you can get weapons out of.
You buy weapons from vending machines, or if you're feeling lucky, there's a slot machine you can get guns from.
Yes. Very fun. Love Borderlands. We talked about it earlier when we were talking about villains. Handsome Jack made our list just because he's such a great villain to have.
Yeah, but one of the most iconic.
But that's also something we could do from an episode. The conversion of anime into live action, the conversion of games.
Well, what I was saying is I'd love to do a B movie or like a bad movie episode.
Does that include all the live action video games?
No, absolutely.
I think that might be its own separate beast. But
Yeah,
I agree.
But right, we could do video game movies.
That'd be tough.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sonic and the most recent Super Mario Brothers movies are like the only ones that have done sort of well.
I just saw Mortal Kombat 2 trailer is coming out.
Oh my gosh.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. Whew, all right. That's a different can of worms that we can open up. I'll go next here. Kind of going off of more prolific video games. I'm going to kind of piggyback on that. Saints Row, if you're not familiar with the game series, is basically the absurd kind of response to Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
I think everyone is probably familiar with Grand Theft Auto. It's a very popular game franchise. Saints Row, I think, doesn't get quite as much flowers for it. But it is basically a similar concept to Grand Theft Auto. You're in a city, you can like steal cars, you can, gun people down, whatever you want. But it adds just absurd.
They go wacky on the story and
wacky.
everything.
Yeah. So like Saints Row 3, you start as bank robbers, but you're a famous gang. So like news reporters are like interviewing
They're
you.
like, oh my god, it's the same.
Yeah, you've got fans.
You're like
running
signing
around.
autographs.
You're
They're
signing
like, nobody move, and someones like selfie.
Yeah.
And like you pose with them and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Some of your characters do like advertisement shoots for like energy drinks or whatever. Like it is absurd, and the stories go crazy. There's like alien invasions. It's insane.
Yeah, the fourth game starts off where you're doing a random attack, and then you get elected president of the United States, and then you get abducted by aliens, and you play most of the game through a Matrix world.
Yeah. It is crazy and absurd. And because of that, the weapons also are very crazy and absurd. You'll find like your standard like machine gun, pistol, shotgun, whatever. But there are weapons that are just crazy.
Piranha gun.
And one of my favorite guns is the dubstep gun.
Okay.
It's so 2012, 2011 coded. It came out at the perfect time.
Basically, it makes people dance and then they explode and die.
Oh my god! When you shoot him?
Yeah.
So you're like,
it makes dubstep when you shoot it as well, and also it makes the things around you, like the cars, will like jump, like they're like dancing too.
That's some heavy bass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's basically a boombox because it's a cannon. So you like put it on your shoulder, and like the speaker is out, and you're just like boom, boom, like everywhere.
I do think that was part of the design. Is they wanted it to kind of look like a gun, kind of look like a boombox, kind of look like a weird futuristic kind of gun.
Yeah.
All in one. And yeah, I think it's just a fun and silly gun. Like you said, it came out at like the perfect time.
Which is such a small pocket of when dubstep is relevant.
Whoa. Dubstep is still relevant. It's just way different nowadays than, what we grew up on and like, those Skrillex Bangarang videos that we were watching.
My apologies. I don't know. I feel like the dubstep of the early 2010s is like such a microcosm of whatever happened.
I mean, that's true. I mean, you have like Skrillex and Adventure Club. Okay, anyways, we're getting into too deep
music.
into this.
Anyway, dubstep gun, cool.
Yeah. I think the dubstep gun is just like a very fun and unique weapon. Although, granted, like you said, the Piranha, there's a bunch of like wild and wacky guns.
So what's a Piranha gun?
It's like a shotgun, so you get up close and personal, but instead of bullets, it shoots piranhas that hop onto people and chew them out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. That's what it sounded like.
I think they had, in the fourth game they came out with like the big brother of it, where you shoot like shark bait.
Shark.
No, but you shoot bait onto people, and a shark comes from under the ground and chomps them and pulls them under.
That's awesome.
I really appreciate the call to Saints Row. Yeah. The first and second Saints Row were basically GTA clones.
Yep.
Saints Row 2 is very beloved just because it had like a very solid story. Mm-hmm. But for 3 and 4, they just went so absurd and created its own identity. But unfortunately, even with all of that, there's nothing that truly stands out, like one aspect that stands out that can really be highlighted. It's just a very fun, enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
And they had a side game called Gat Out of Hell, where you go to hell because one of your crew members was taken by Satan to marry his daughter.
Yeah, just crazy storylines. I will say I prefer Saints Row over Grand Theft Auto just because it doesn't take itself seriously.
It never does.
And I think that's so fun, especially in a game like this where I don't think you should take yourself seriously.
Yeah, no, if you're taking it seriously, there's something wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Saints Row, the creators of Saints Row kind of understood that, and after the first two, they were like, okay, hold on, we know what we must do here.
And I think they definitely perfected the formula in 3.
Yeah.
4 is good, but the story was a little too out there to really get into, but I think 3 is like the perfect point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, along with the game also has a bunch of mini games. Like there is a game show where it's basically you just killing a bunch of people.
Oh my god! Oh, it's like
Mr. Genki,
Dr. Genki or something,
Genki,
and it's like super like Japanese mini game, and like as you're playing, there's two commentators talking, and you're just like wreaking havoc, and you're like Dr. Genki rushes down the hot sauce bottle, and it's just like
it's a bunch of people in like mascot outfits like rushing at you with like either just fisticuffs
or like baseball bats.
Like baseball bats, yeah. It is hilarious and funny, and
doesn't take itself
seriously, and there's a bunch of like really really silly weapons in the game, so I appreciate that. And I mean, if we're talking about it right, Saints Row 3, the music is incredible.
Oh my god, they actually had a really crazy radio.
Yeah, but back when Kanye West wasn't
the craziest person,
insane. I think that obviously he didn't need that much help, but putting Power on the map
on the trailer.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
so good,
so great.
Anyway,
all right, Dad.
Enough,
Yeah. So now the boring dad choice. So once again, I went with things that aren't really weapons, but they are weapons.
Okay.
So my second choice is from the '60s, 007, which is Odd Job's killer hat. And so he throws a hat and he chops off people's heads and whatever. And I just thought it's so absurd, but it's live action. It's not a cartoon or a game or whatever.
Yeah.
And the guy that played Odd Job never said a word throughout the whole movie. He was just a henchman, and he wore a tuxedo as a henchman, and then he did the bowler that killed people. It was just so absurd.
It's so absurd but ominous.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking the 60s. At that time, is there any sort of weapon like that, or is that kind of revolutionary in what it's become?
It is revolutionary. I mean, a lot of the stuff that James Bond did in the 60s was kind of taking kind of what people imagined World War II was like with the agents, and then taking those weapons to the absurd level. Like, what they did to cars wasn't seen before, where they're oil slicks and then
all the attachments,
and all that stuff. And so the guns coming out of it, and then they open up a box and it's a little helicopter. I mean, that was considered cutting edge technology at that time. And so a lot of the stuff that they were showing, or that Q was showing, where you have it now, we've become accustomed to it because. Yeah. In the 60s, James Bond is going to today. Yeah. Right? And so you've had this Q option in there where they were developing these cool things. But at that time, it was, okay, this person's wearing a jacket that's bulletproof, or, this pen explodes. Yeah. We think of that as common day, but at that time, it was something totally revolutionary and different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot more talking in the old James Bond movies. There wasn't the ability to have these really high action things, so you really didn't see a lot of it. But the way they kind of went around it is they made clever weapons and tools that they used, whether it was a laser to cut a lock or something like that.
It almost feels like Batman utility belt kind of.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and Batman came out at the same time. The campy one came out at the same time.
The Adam West one?
Yeah, the Adam West one. So you had Batman doing this, well, here's my bat thong or bat whatever,
Yeah.
Here's my bat spray.
Yeah. This is my bat shark repellent and to repel the exploding sharks that the Joker sent. It was those at that time was taking everyday items like a pencil and making it a weapon.
I'm sensing a theme.
Yeah. Yes, there is a theme.
Something that seems innocuous but is truly dangerous.
I mean, it is interesting to see how much like those early media really affect things, and how much of kind of a inspiration they've been for a lot of other media. I mean, there is a character speaking of Mortal Kombat, there's a character in Mortal Kombat that also has a hat that has like blades on it that he throws around.
Yep, that one character.
Yeah, we did not play a lot of Mortal Kombat. I think his name's like Raijin or something.
There have been other ones where they do things like that, but like I said, it at this time it was really the creativity around those very early movies because there was nothing like it.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's not like now it allows for the creation of very absurd weapons nowadays because they go,
course.
we're going to push it to the next thing that's absurd, like
Oh yeah.
a dubstep,
Like a dubstep
A
gun.
dubstep gun.
or the reappearing weapon when it materializes once
Yeah.
you throw it away.
Oh
you
yeah.
know? You know, I think that these are the precursors to that, and it is. To me, it's just remarkable to see what it's become.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's creativity getting pushed to the bounds.
Yeah, I think sometimes we take for granted some of these older shows where it's like, oh well, yeah, that's fine, but look at what we have nowadays.
Yeah.
And I don't think we give enough flowers or enough credit to some of those older shows, even if they're a little slower, more talking heavy. There was a lot of like innovation and kind of like
Well, if you look at the Batman campy version of that, it really followed a lot of the creative stuff in the comics.
yeah,
And then when you see like the Dark Knight come out, or you see the other Batmans that came out, they're really playing on top of that stuff that was in the comics and that the campy stuff
Yeah.
did. You know, they still did kind of an homage to what that first series did.
yeah.
Anyways, we're out of beer.
We are out of beer.
Well, yeah, our glasses are empty, and we've got one more beer to go, so we're gonna take a short break, but we'll be back in a moment here. We'll see you soon, guys.
Bye.
And we are back, and immediately you can smell this alcohol.
There will not be tentativeness in the flavor of this.
No, I mean, I was saying you could smell the grapefruit when you put it up to your nose, but you just poured this, and I'm smelling the pumpkin already.
Yes, this is crazy. So what do we got?
Yeah, Nick,
So
what are
we
drinking?
are rounding our last journey with Aleworks for now with the Imperial Pumpkin Stout. Aged in a rum barrel, so even more spices on a darker stout.
Hold on, I don't actually think it's a stout. I think it's
Is it not?
It's an amber ale, actually.
It's an amber ale. It's just so dark.
It is dark.
I think that's because of the molasses from the rum barrels.
Yeah.
So we should get a sweetness with this also.
I mean, it certainly smells like it.
yeah.
It's almost like a cocktail. If you were like, a cocktail's in front of you, I'd be like, yeah, I believe you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I am getting the notes of rum like in the air now.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, and the spices too.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at this, it is no wonder that you thought it was a stout because this does not look like an amber ale.
No. Usually there's some opacity or opacity to an amber ale. I can't see my finger through this
Yeah.
glass right now.
It's awesome.
Yeah, well,
Cheers.
Cheers.
Wow, this is crazy.
yeah,
Oh
absolutely.
man, the smell is.
Oh my gosh,
Oh.
even as he gets closer, he's putting that smell.
Oh,
That is wicked.
that is.
That's crazy. Oh my god.
Oh, and it keeps coming.
Yeah, there's so many layers. If you told me rum was in this, I would believe you.
Yes.
Because it has such a heavy amount of the rum spices.
I'm not getting a lot of pumpkin.
I'm not getting a lot of pumpkin. Oh wait. At the very tail end, I'm getting pumpkin.
I'm getting butterscotch candy a lot.
A little
Yeah.
bit.
Well, here's what I will also say, and this probably is affecting that sort of rum taste. Not only is it the rum barrels, but also we are looking at almost double the alcohol content from the last two.
Yeah. So it's just stronger in general.
Yeah, so we were drinking, I think both of them are 4.8s. This is a 9%. So it is much stronger. But I'm not getting much pumpkin. I think you get a little bit of it at the end, especially when I'm breathing out. I
Yeah.
can feel it over my tongue.
I'm definitely getting the rum barrel though.
It
Yes.
is so unique.
It is. I like stronger.
Yes.
Although I'm not getting a strong ale taste.
No. No, not really.
It's sweeter than I would expect an ale to be, or more buttery than it.
Yeah.
yeah, more buttery.
No, yeah. If you put this in front of me and said this was an amber ale, I would not believe you. I would
yeah.
say you are lying to me.
I'd be like, well, hold on now. Amber ale and what?
Yeah,
What else
exactly.
did you put in it?
Did you melt some
There's,
caramel in this?
there's another thing you added to spice up this amber ale.
Wow, yeah, this is really unique.
I'm wondering how it would be warm.
Huh. That is an interesting thought, Dab.
I don't know. I don't know if that would be good.
Are you thinking like trying to make like a toddy out of this or something?
It would be odd.
Well, I like odd.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's what he's all about.
Sure. But not in a good odd
Yeah.
way.
Wait a minute.
Not in a good odd way.
No, but this is yeah, I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's very unique.
Yep.
It is. I know I'm tasting a beer. I think my mouthfeel has a beer feel to it.
Yeah.
But the flavor is so unique. So unique. Anyways, I think we start with you.
Yep. It's me starting out here. Wow. Yeah. That's got me kind of reeling a little bit. That's so unique. All right. So we were talking a little bit during the break, and I did talk up a lot of anime, and I haven't talked about anime yet.
You were like, my first instinct was anime.
But
But that's not the first
But
one I'm
that's
going
not
to
what
tell you
I'm
about.
gonna talk
That's not what I'm going to talk about. So I feel obligated to talk about anime. And what I will say is I have kind of a longer list that I was telling these guys that I was just kind of like, vibes when we're recording. I'll choose one. I will say I have a couple of runner-ups. One of those is Hayes Weapons from Darker Than Black. But I feel like I've talked about Darker Than Black like a little too much on this show, so I want to talk about something else. So what I will say is the kind of weapon that I think is interesting, and oh my god, with anime there's so many, but we are going to go to the Dominator gun from Psycho Pass. If you're familiar with Psycho Pass,
And I'm not.
it is basically a grim, dark sci-fi series where there is basically an artificial intelligence, essentially, that will basically predict whether or not you're gonna commit a crime. So it's like thought crime police.
So it's like Minority Report.
Yeah. I believe.
You've never seen it?
Nope. Not seen
Sorry.
it.
Yeah, it is. If that's what that is.
So
Yeah,
what
that's what that is.
what Minority Report is that they have three, I was going to say psychics in there, and they can determine if someone's about to commit murder. And they send out this ball whenever they have a thought together, the three of them, and the ball has a name on it. And then the police go out and arrest this guy before he commits a crime.
Oh, then yeah, that is basically Psycho Pass.
Yeah.
So these guns will, when you like point it at someone, it will bring up their name and like what crime they like are gonna commit. And then there's some options in like the gun, like you can go for like a non-lethal, or of course it's got like a lethal option, which happens a lot in the show.
It's hard to believe in anime.
But yeah, the show basically is a critique on like, I mean, on where the future is going, on police brutality, on
AI information.
on AI information, which is crazy because, gosh, this is an older show. Definitely not the oldest in terms of like the grim, dark sci-fi, but
Hey, bud, you're bleeding.
oh my gosh, you are bleeding.
I don't know why.
Okay, here. This is a first during the podcast.
Sorry, first aid really quick.
Oh my gosh, there's blood everywhere. Just kidding. No, yeah. For those just listening via audio, our father perhaps has picked a scab on his arm and is now
Cleaning it up a little bit.
cleaning it up a little bit. He's
Don't know.
bleeding a
Don't
little
know where
bit.
the scab came from. So.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
fine.
Yeah.
If I collapse, you'll know why.
But yeah, I mean, I think the guns themselves are unique. I mean, they're basically like futuristic guns where they like lock onto people. They bring up their name. There's like the biometrics where like only the gun owner can use it. But I think the show itself often is like a critique of where society could be going. And this was like way before we had, conversations nowadays where we're talking about AI's taking over everything. Kind of one of those situations where, again, we're looking at past media going, wow, that's still relevant today.
Yeah.
Or that's even more relevant nowadays.
And I think an interesting aspect of the show is it does sort of tackle the main like concern about it, where it's like the investigators are humans and they're like, all right, gun, this is an obviously bad person. We need to take him down. And the gun goes, I'm not detecting any issues with it. I'm not going to be used.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's this awful like robot versus human, where the human's like, this is a true criminal that, they have committed a crime, but the gun is like, nope, they're good.
It does bring up like ethics and morality too. Yeah.
Well, I mean, because they're human, it's not so cut and dry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously in a society like this, there are people that are looking for like ways to get around it, or we're seeing the like AI believes that certain people shouldn't be punished, or other people who in like our opinions probably shouldn't be punished like very harshly or at all are being punished. And of course it goes into this like, is this person really committing a crime? Like, it's a very unique, the show itself, but also the guns and this sort of concept, which I think is something that's come up in media and fiction a lot, is this idea of like, can thought crimes, like if you're thinking about something, be
a crime?
Be persecuted. And so,
I mean, it's a relevant topic now,
sure,
because you look at where England is persecuting people for just saying stuff.
Sure. England's not the only place to do
No,
that.
I get it. Yeah.
England.
Yeah. Anyways, I will go next.
Yeah, do it.
All right, you're taking lead here.
I am taking.
Yeah.
Well,
He was going to toss the baton anyway, but
He's ready to go. He's losing blood.
well, it's funny. We've done a lot more talking in this one rather than on the topics that we picked, but it's been very interesting in my mind.
Yeah.
I think, weapons are a cool thing to highlight, but usually around the context or the full, impact of them makes it more important.
I mean, I think if you look at like a game, one weapon doesn't make the whole game. It's usually...
Hold on now.
Yeah, but what I will say is,
now.
for a game, oftentimes the uniqueness of the weapon is part of the draw.
Right, yeah.
The Hidden Blade in Assassin's Creed made those games for
Yes.
a long period of time.
I mean, when you think about Infamous, you think about the amp bat that Cole McGrath has.
And although there's other weapons, you think about the Leviathan axe from God of War, or the Blades of Chaos from God of War.
Yep.
There's so many iconic, weapons, right? It's like
the Gears of War chainsaw guns.
yeah.
I mean, yeah. Like I said, this topic is so broad.
There's so many. Like I said, like this might be the first of many. We're just dipping our toes in the water, see what happens.
All right, so once again, because I'm the oddball here,
Oh yes.
I decided to go with, once again, a practical item, and this one's a little bit fun. Recently, my wife and I decided that we were going to go through Disney and start watching the old cartoons. And when I say old cartoons,
I was about to say.
when I say old cartoons, I'm not talking about the original Snow White. I'm talking about, Frozen and things like that are really from the last 15 or so years that we'd never seen, or we've only seen once or twice. And we happen to be watching Tangled. And Tangled is really one of my favorite cartoons, modern cartoons.
Tangled's good.
And the weapon in Tangled was a frying pan.
It was a horse.
But in the end, the royal guards used frying pans.
It's true.
And so
I forgot about that.
They armed themselves.
So I just said that that's such a unique weapon. And once I said that, everyone started going, well, it's also a weapon of opportunity. We talked about, someone had started mentioning other places where a frying pan is used.
Lord of the Rings, Samwise Gamgee.
Yep. And so,
Wow, yeah, I forgot about that too.
That's the guy. That's the guy right there. He didn't get a fun, cool, elvish blade.
No,
He had to be rocking up with the frying pan.
frying pan.
but yeah, there's a lot of times in a lot of comedies, the weapon of opportunity is usually a frying pan or something like that.
It's true. Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry
Yeah.
and things like that. So I love Tangle. I love the idea of the frying pan, and
And it was a beast in
it
the
was
movie.
a beast.
Yeah.
But you know, by Rapunzel just using it on everything. But yeah, it was. I loved it, and I thought it was such a unique. It was funny because in my mind, it allowed them to pick a weapon that was really unobtrusive and not gory, and allowed it to be in a movie that still could appeal to children. You know, I think it was fun enough where it didn't have to be, gory or terrible.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm sure when it was getting written, it was like, how do we stop Imperial guards from chasing these two without it always being a chase? And then they're like, well, the obvious conclusion is we have to stop them from chasing. Well, we can't kill them.
Yeah.
And we got to knock them out. And it's like, okay, who's going to be knocking them out and how? And it's
Yeah.
like, well, Rapunzel's going to be the main force for a lot of this. Give her a frying pan, I'm sure that conversation. And I think one of the things that really stands out to me in Tangled is there's a point in the movie where Flynn Rider gets a hold of the frying pan and knocks out like a few guards, and he like flips and he's like, what the heck? I gotta get me one of these. Like there is something very charming about, once again, you've chosen a very innocuous item that you would not expect that performs incredibly well.
Yeah.
I think also part of the messaging of Tangled is that looks cannot always be trusted.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of unassuming things, like Rapunzel herself looks very unassuming. You assume this quote unquote damsel in distress at first. And even with I've Got a Dream, that entire bar in that scene are all just dudes that have dreams and have feelings, and you wouldn't necessarily know that at first by looking at them.
And I think that, when they initially portray her as they portray her as someone that can't even talk to her mother,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
As very weak. And so when you look about where she started, and also what does she have available to her in her apartment?
Yeah.
The frying pan really
Her
is
apartment.
yeah.
Apartment is a funny way of putting that.
Yeah. But her house.
Her condo.
Her condo, yeah. Her high rise.
Her tower.
But the only thing she really has is the frying pan. And so it's something she's comfortable with, and she knows she's had every day as a thing. I mean, she could have easily picked up, I don't know, a mirror or picked up a stool or something like that. It would not have
The
had
return of the wooden bench.
Honestly, the stool would go hard.
Stool would have been crazy. Beat a bunch of people up and then sit down.
But it is part of. I think it represents her starting with something comfortable and using that to go forward to advance. So
Yeah. All right, Nick.
Finish us up.
Yeah,
All
bring
right.
us home. Finish it off.
I will bring out an anime as well. I feel like we were extremely tame on our anime picks.
I think so too.
For what could have been chosen, because anime truly has the craziest and most absurd weapons.
Yeah.
And none of us chose it, not even for my last pick. And that might be a separate thing. Maybe
Yeah.
we have an absurd weapon one. But this last one is a weapon. I've talked about the hidden blade, where it's it could be realistic, but it functionally can't be. And the TDR weapons, they're kind of crazy, but you could figure something out, but whatever. This one is such a tame look at it, but it is truly something that could never exist. I think they're usually known as wire gloves, or I saw garrote gloves as another definition of them. I'm choosing one of the secret artifacts from Akame ga Kill, which is filled with so many interesting weapons and abilities. But I'm specifically choosing Ludux, I think is his name.
Yep.
It's a green-haired character. His wire gloves, the crosstails. And for context, this is sort of capturing like a greater sort of archetype of weapon that I really, really like, which are the wire gloves. But his are especially cool.
Yes.
Basically, they are... Imagine you could... It's almost like webbing, where it's used for a lot of, capturing and movement. It's sort of like having, five, a string is attached to each finger. So it almost has a puppeteer aesthetic, but also a Spider-Man one for mobility, where you can like shoot these strings out and they'll grab onto things, and you can do a lot of maneuverability with them. Or you can set them up as traps, or you can use them as a garrote wire. Kill someone pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Wire wraps around their throat. Not too much you can do at that point.
Correct.
And it's just such a cool weapon. A lot of games and other shows have used these things. The Akame ga Kill one is especially interesting because they have like the sort of archetype of all these weapons in the show is like they have something called a trump card, which is like this ultimate version of them. And they vary. Like one character has powers of ice, so she can like freeze things and like create ice blocks and ice barriers and stuff like that. And her trump card is her ice gets so powerful she freezes time.
Yep.
Wow.
So, super crazy and, whatever. But then there's others where, they interact really strangely, where it's like the more danger I am in, the stronger the weapon becomes.
Yes.
So there's a sniper rifle, and the character is like, whenever I'm in a pinch is when my weapon can get stronger. So like when she's in the biggest pinch is when her trump card is able to be used.
Yeah. And what I will say, sniper rifle might be like a bit of a it's like a laser.
It's a laser
gun.
cannon.
It's crazy.
It can snipe, but like when the pinch is happening,
It's a cannon.
yeah, it's like evaporating like mountain tops.
Yeah, exactly.
And the garrote wire for his trump card gets even stronger and practically unbreakable, and it's called like infinite uses, but it has the spool that never ends, and it's just like such a fascinating weapon. A lot of the times I was for when we were thinking about weapons, I was like, the coolest weapons are always the ones that are the most versatile. You have the most opportunity to make whatever you wish out of them. And I think these wire gloves, you're able to use it defensively, maneuverability, trapping, quick kills. Like there's so many aspects that you can use them in, and they're very, very cool. And they could never exist because functionally, like just throwing around wires just doesn't work.
Yeah.
This is why live action anime fails.
Yeah.
For many reasons. For
so many reasons. But yeah, in this way, you can't really like hold people up via these wires, or even the idea of like moving around with these wire gloves is like impossible. I mean, it's kind of impossible for Spider-Man, but at least you can be like, oh, well, it's like a sticky web. It just like shoots out, hits something, and he
holds onto it.
Yeah. But this is like,
Yeah.
I'm swinging now.
Yeah. I think it's we've talked about this before, is that the animation allows you to do just really incredible things.
Yeah, exactly. And I think other people need to recognize that this is why it's in that format.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's got to stay there.
Yeah.
I think the fun thing about Akame ga Kill is all of the characters are purposefully very unique and distinct, and because of that, their weapons also mimic and mirror that, being like very distinct. Even when there are characters that are similar, they have slightly different weapons to ensure that they are unique enough.
Yeah. A really cool one, Akame ga Kill or Akame,
Yeah.
the show that the character that the show is named after.
Yeah, but it feels like Tatsumi's actually
Tatsumi's
the main character.
Anyway, I mean, he is the main character, but it's named after this. It's such a complicated.
whatever.
Anyway, her weapon is very, very cool. It looks like a typical katana. However, if anyone but the user is cut by it, they die immediately.
They die. Yes.
Wow.
So a little nick on your arm, dead.
You're gone.
It's like, oh, yep, your
Yeah,
arm.
it's gone.
But like when her trump card is she cuts herself with it and goes like extremely like uber powered
Yeah.
and like, super senses and whatever. Like it's like a demon blade and it's like the blade is coated with this demon's blood. And when the user, does it to themselves, then they become part demon. It's so anime.
It is so anime.
It's so anime.
I will say, I think Akame ga Kill gets bad rep, and I think we've talked about Akame ga Kill on the podcast before.
I don't know if we have.
But I think it is very cheesy, a little campy. But I think some of that's kind of fun. Like it plays into some of those anime tropes like really hard, and that's kind of part of the fun of it.
It's part of the fun.
I think it's one of those shows that you can't take too seriously.
No, but it tries to take itself
Yeah.
too seriously. That's an
It
issue
does.
where you try and be lighthearted with the show because it is so absurd and crazy, but the show just keeps trying to ground itself on like the darkest, most serious themes.
Yes.
Like kidnapping, political corruption, public executions, like a lot of really, really grim things that they're actively showing the person.
Yep.
While being like, haha, we're quirky.
Yeah.
So how many seasons did this?
It's just one, and that was too much, to be honest.
Yes. All right. Before we run out of time, I will say we have so many other weapons to talk about. We didn't even talk about like mechs in general.
I know.
As like a very popular anime weapon, but
we didn't even bring up a sword.
yeah, we didn't even bring
We
up
didn't
a
even talk
sword.
about a sword.
We
We gotta have a sword episode.
We'll have more, and we'd love to hear what y'all think down in the comments as well.
And don't forget, like,
Oh, God.
subscribe.
He's got to
Do
say
all
the
that,
like.
but before that,
Make a comment.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah, before we go, really quick, what is everyone's favorite alcohol or favorite drink that we had tonight? Dad, we'll start with you.
I think I'm gonna go with the pumpkin.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's very unique.
I mean, I like the shandy a lot. I was disappointed in the grapefruit,
yeah.
Yeah.
but I think I'm gonna go with this one just because it was unique and full body.
All right, Nick.
I will also choose the Imperial Pumpkin. I thought it was so fascinating and so rich and was truly the most outstanding flavor tonight.
This doesn't happen often, but I think we're all in agreement here. And I think a part of that is we all like that very weird and strange kind of vexing flavor when you push an alcohol to its limits here. And I agree. I think the Imperial Pumpkin was weird and unique and very robust in flavor. It was awesome. I liked it.
And nothing to take away from the first two. They were very
Yeah,
drinkable.
I love the shandy.
Yeah, the shandy was great. Grapefruit, like you said, a little disappointing, but
think it
still
was-
easy drinking,
Yeah,
honestly.
easy. Can't go wrong.
I think Airworks, we did 6 of their beers, and we had 2 other ones that we also
Yeah.
tasted. I think it was they were all drinkable at the very minimum.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of Aleworks. Can't go wrong with them. But that'll do it for today's episode. Thank you all so much for sticking around. We went off topic so much, but thanks for bearing with us. We love the ability to just be able to talk and rant and ramble. We will catch you next time. Thank you all so much. See you again.
Bye.
Bye.